A few words before we get started. There have been a lot of developments throughout the process of making this video, especially in recent days leading up to its release. And in many ways, this situation is still ongoing and there's quite a few questions that have yet to be answered. I've spoken with someone in association with YandereDev who was very respectful during our conversation, who just wanted to learn more about this situation like the rest of us, and I'll get into that more later. So I'd like to ask, please watch this video all the way through and be kind to everyone involved. Thank you. If you've been following this situation within the past week, you probably know it's been quite a roller coaster, but for those who haven't, let's get everyone up to speed. Back in July of this year, I was contacted by a 16-year-old girl and fan of the game Yandere Simulator, who I will be referring to as Jane, and she alleged that she was actively being groomed and sexually abused throughout the summer by YandereDev, also known as AllyMcC, creator of Yandere Simulator. And she was reaching out to me to help get her story and gathered evidence out to the public while keeping herself anonymous. Throughout the next couple months, she continued conversing with Alex as she had been while collecting more evidence of his behavior in the form of Snapchat recordings and voice call recordings. If you're a fan of Alex and you've somehow made it this far without throwing down a dislike and angry yet grammatically questionable comment and dipping out of the video, please watch this all the way through. In fact, if you're a fan, it's even more important that you watch this video, because anyone who still supports Alex in any way needs to see this. You need to know exactly who you're supporting and giving your time and money to. I'm going to play the voice recordings now and I'll give my own thoughts later, and I encourage everyone to form their own opinion. For full transparency, these recordings have been lightly edited to condense for time and pacing with unimportant small talk removed. There are some specific portions I'd like to highlight, but the context itself has not been altered in any way.
You go to like bars and stuff?
No, I don't go out. I just stay inside and work on the game.
You should turn your camera.
Oh, you'll see how old I am.
Let me look at you.
You're cute.
Yeah, exactly. You should. I will be too.
I don't feel good about it.
Okay.
Oh, you're sweet.
I have a question for you.
What's the question?
I want you to like call off guard or anything.
Go ahead.
You talk to other girls, maybe?
No.
Okay.
Wouldn't it make me a bad guy if I did?
It would make me, an upset person if you did.
You'd be upset?
And then it's just like, not like in a serious way, just like, oh.
Am I a bad guy for talking to you? Should I stop talking to you?
No, you should stop talking. Well, I mean, like, you should, but please don't. Just, like, pause. I like your company.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Do you think you can call like this more often?
Maybe. I had fun. You're funny. It's fun to listen to talk.
What if I'm not high next time? I just make it.
I would also be very interested in interacting with you when you are regular. I want to learn what regular you is like.
Okay.
But high you is very cute and fun.
Great. My hands were fuzzy.
Yeah, you do that a lot when you're high.
I do a lot when I'm sober too.
You're so cute.
You're saying that.
It's because you keep being cute. If you don't want to be called cute, then stop being so cute. It's simple logic. And I thought it was just normal.
That's not normal size.
Oh.
No, I think average size, one of those in the U.S. is like 5.5.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know how to respond like that. I don't know what to say about it. I don't have one, so I'm not like a penis expert.
There's this one really important thing to remember, and that's that all the money I get is donations from people who want to support me. And if I start working less, then they will think, oh, he's not working, he's lazy, I should not support this guy.
Why can't you start OnlyFans?
Okay, let's just hypothetically imagine I have an OnlyFans. Now, what do I post on the OnlyFans? You mean like just naked pictures of me? I don't think I'm good looking enough for anyone to want to subscribe to my OnlyFans.
Like,
when you turn 18, are you going to start an OnlyFans?
God, no.
Well, how can you recommend that someone else do it if you wouldn't even be able to do it yourself?
like, personally, guys under 5'9" are just like.
So you're basically saying short men are not human and don't deserve humans, and you want them all genocided. That's basically what you're saying. I'm only 5'11". I'm barely. I barely meet the cutoff criteria for being a human in your eyes. What if I told you I'm only interested in girls with double D breasts? Anything less than that is just not attractive.
Well, I mean, like, that's your preference, but do you understand how cup sizes work?
Nah, no. Big as a girl's head. I want them big as a girl's head.
I have what are considered, these are A cups, isn't that crazy?
Because you're so skinny?
Yep.
So it's like the ratio of the bust compared to, yeah, okay. Yeah, you're very skinny and that's kind of hot. Sorry, am I a bad guy for saying that? Should I go die?
No.
Am I a bad guy?
And I can see where they got the idea from, but with context, it's not.
Yep, that's my life right there.
I don't want it to be something that you're going to get mad at me for asking.
Uh-oh. Okay, go ahead. Just go ahead.
There was, like, a girl forever ago, and she said that stuff between you and her happened when she was 14. Is that, like, true stuff? I'm just
No.
curious.
Nope. There's a whole story behind why that accusation even exists, but it's like it takes a million years. I'd rather not talk about it if I could just explain it with text.
I understand. It's okay. It's okay. I'm just curious. I just wanted a yes or no answer. I don't care why she did it. I just wanted to know.
There was no girl. There was a guy who made a Tumblr page where he made up the fake identity of a 14-year-old girl. And he said, "Oh my God, like I knew YandereDev when I was 14. He said this and this and this to me. Oh my God, it's like an internet troll posing as a 14-year-old girl. Like I could go to Tumblr right now and make a blog and say, oh my God, when I was 14, PewDiePie raped me, and like I'd probably get a bunch of clicks and views. Oh my God, Mr. Beast, he touched my pussy, because it's like you put the name of a huge creator into the title of your whatever, and you can just get attention. There wasn't even any proof or evidence on the blog. People just ran with it.
Wait, hold on. Did you ever answer that question? I asked you if you were a virgin.
Yeah, then my phone rang. Very conveniently, I had to go flee to answer the phone call. Here's a question for you. What makes you think it's possible that I'm a virgin?
You asked me that, and I gave an answer. What was it?
You're like, maybe you were shy in college, and you haven't had any time to meet people because of Yandere sim.
Yeah, exactly.
If I'm a virgin, does that make me a pathetic loser?
Why would it make you a pathetic loser?
It's like, oh, this guy has no riz. He can't get any girl to sleep with him. Pathetic. Maidenless. No bitches?
Like, I'm half hoping you are, half hoping you're not. Because, like, if you're not, then, like, good for you, you had sex. But if you are, like,
You want to steal my first time? Well, I'm not very experienced with ladies.
I can tell. No.
Wow, okay, bye.
You just don't have any time. It was not like that. You just don't have any time.
Wow, so mean. You're such a bully.
Hi.
Hello there.
How are you?
It's an average day for me.
You probably have like a whole tree of things
Yeah.
with all their little branches of ideas, all that. Because you have been working on the game since I was 7?
I've been working on it I've been working on it since 2014.
Oh yeah, I was 7. I was 7.
You're
It's just, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird to process that. So, I know that the official ages are 18, but like, is it high school?
No, it's a post-high school academy.
Huh. So how old is everyone?
Everyone's 18.
Just like 18 or like 18 plus?
Everyone there's like adults, like the teachers are older than 18. The headmaster is like 60, but all the students are 18.
Oh, that's weird. I feel like high school age makes more sense.
It would make more sense, but then everyone would complain, oh my god, the characters are under 18, so I have to contrive a story that makes them over 18. Or 18.
Because everyone gets so mad about kids. Because, like, you can't sexualize minors. I mean, you can't disagree with that without sounding like a creep. There's nothing I can really say about that.
Mother Nature sexualizes minors. Puberty starts to give breasts and wide hips to children before they turn 18. It's not like, a person does it to a child. The child's own body does it to themselves. It's not like an adult can go to a child and cast a magic spell that gives them breasts. Haha, I've sexualized you. I gave you breasts. And the child is like, no. No, the child just does it. The child's body does it automatically. A child gradually becomes an adult over time because of puberty.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Doing it. What, does it sound silly when I phrase it like that?
It sounded really silly.
But it's true, though.
I'm unable to do this weekly challenge in SAS. It is so hard.
What's the weekly challenge? Don't wait.
Oh my god.
Undoubtedly, there's going to be some discourse over the severity of the evidence provided, as is typical whenever someone with an adoring fan base is exposed for acting in a less than decent manner. In my opinion, while the evidence doesn't prove anything outright illegal, because unfortunately, as fucking creepy as it is, there's no law against an adult simply having a sexually charged conversation with a minor, because sadly, the law doesn't do shit to protect children, it just waits until they're significantly harmed to take action afterwards. I feel that this could have easily been a stepping stone for further behavior that would qualify as breaking the law. A significant component of grooming, especially over the internet, is the normalization of sexual topics. If this relationship had continued on, who knows what would have happened in the future? Especially with certain Snapchat conversations, I don't want to assume Alex was basically waiting for Jane to turn 18, but there are aspects of this that definitely start ringing some alarm bells for me. At Jane's request, I had put together a 3-hour documentary-style video essay detailing some of Alex's past behaviors and mannerisms that could have been viewed as a precursor to these allegations. Then I also sat down with Jane for a total of 4 hours worth of interviews to get her own story in her own words. Everything was done to her specifications. She was involved every step of the way, and I would routinely send her segments of the video for approval. The video was set to be published on Friday, September 22nd, but as we were approaching the intended release day, one of her friends posted a TikTok with snippets from some of the audio recordings at Jane's request that went viral, and Alex caught wind of the upcoming video being produced. Following this, there were a series of frantic conversations taking place over Snapchat where Alex was severely guilt-tripping and manipulating Jane to stop the video, even asking her to lie on his behalf and threatening legal action, according to her. Here are some of the other Snapchat conversations that Jane managed to record throughout the course of their relationship. This next recording is quite a long one, but it's the final piece of evidence that Jane sent me, which shows clear coercion and manipulation on Alex's part, guilt-tripping her and exploiting her feelings for him to get her not to come forward. To be perfectly clear, Alex has admitted to multiple people that these Snapchat conversations and voice calls did in fact happen and that he did participate in them. I know there have been many fans recently not wanting to believe someone that they look up to could turn out to have done something so repugnant. So there were many claims from the fan base saying that the audio clips are an AI or the Snapchat isn't actually Alex. Anything attempting to preemptively discredit Jane, the evidence, and even myself. To an extent, I can understand it's hard to come to terms with a person you idolize doing something awful, but I can confirm Alex's admission to these texts and calls, and I hope in the near future he will do the right thing and make his admission public as well. And unfortunately, with Jane being a huge fan of Alex and being greatly infatuated with him, his coercion worked, and Jane wanted to back out and retract her allegations. She even posted a comment on another creator's TikTok video stating that he convinced her that ruining his career was bad. And really, I think that says it all right there. Following this, I was unsure if I would be posting this video at all because from the beginning I made it a priority for her to maintain full control of how her story is told at all times. That's something I pride myself on in the very few situations like this I've been involved in the past, is always putting the victim first. And so I told her throughout this entire process that if she ever changed her mind and didn't want her story to be shared, I would respect her decision. But that was if she came to that conclusion on her own, and sadly, I hadn't anticipated if someone she alleged was actively abusing her for months would push her into silence and not seeking proper help that she had so passionately wanted throughout this entire process. Not just for herself, but for other alleged victims of Alex as well, who have been in contact towards the end of the original video being put together. At this point, after discussing with Jane's friend, the alleged victims, and others involved, we were unfortunately put into a situation where we had to decide between Jane's wishes and the wishes of all the other victims who also couldn't speak out for themselves, and were begging us to post the video with the accompanying evidence to expose Alex for what he's allegedly done to numerous young girls. We were forced to decide if, at this point, this project had come so far that it had to leave the victim's hands, meaning Jane, and enter the public responsibility. Because without the evidence, and especially with Alex convincing her to backtrack her previous accusations, he would face no accountability, and we had to consider if this just meant he would become better at hiding potential future abuse. Would we just have to sit around and wait until this happened again to another girl? If we were to do nothing and this whole situation blows over and someone else did end up becoming victimized, we would feel at least partially responsible for not taking action when we had the chance to prevent it from ever happening. As I mentioned at the beginning, I've spoken with someone associated with Alex who wanted to learn more about the situation, being just as concerned for Jane's safety and well-being as the rest of us. And of course, being someone who is far closer to Alex than I will ever be, we had some differences of opinion, but there were also many things we agreed on. And while they don't agree with this video moving forward, they understand why those of us involved feel that it's a necessity. It was a very respectful and productive conversation, and I would like to sincerely thank this person for being cordial and reaching out to me. Unsurprisingly, though, this person denies that Alex ever had any malicious or illegal intentions with Jane. Though I feel with what Alex has said in these voice calls and text messages, the best case scenario, he led this girl on to allow her to view that they were in a romantic relationship and didn't shut it down despite having many opportunities to do so over the past several months. And worst case scenario, he's done some very illegal things. And with those options, I am not taking any chances because I personally don't trust Alex enough to give him the benefit of the doubt. Even if Jane is lying about certain things, which I'm not saying she is at all, he still allowed these interactions to happen. Jane is a child, and he is the idolized public figure with millions of followers. She's compared coming forward with her allegations to a breakup with a boyfriend. So obviously she feels hurt and affected in some type of way because he allowed it to get there. So after much discussion with everyone involved, it was a unanimous decision that we'd gotten the ball rolling on this video and there was no turning back, especially with details and portions of the evidence already made public. A video with the evidence would be posted in some form. However, I went back and modified Jane's audio clips to disguise her voice, as that hadn't been done for the original video, and we decided not to include her testimony given during our interview, which had been retracted in its entirety. It felt like a decent compromise with wanting to bring the evidence to light while also acknowledging Jane's desire to now be completely uninvolved. Since her retraction, she's been doing a lot to try to diminish the abuse, all for Alex's sake. It's a bit ironic because throughout the interview I conducted with Jane, we chatted quite a bit about the recent Colleen Ballinger situation, another YouTuber accused of grooming her underage fans. And it became a topic of conversations partly because Jane has been closely following the story and is a big fan of Adam McIntyre, one of Colleen's alleged victims who has been very outspoken about her wrongdoings. And in that particular case, when we've talked about it, she is able to objectively recognize inappropriate behavior from an adult. But unfortunately, she's got too many feelings wrapped up in this instance and wants to protect Alex at all costs. And this is why I and everyone else involved with the situation feel that the proof of Alex's misconduct needs to be made public, even if it goes against Jane's wishes right now. Make no mistake, continuing on and sharing Jane's story without her sickens me to my core. As a victim myself, it feels foul, because the last thing I ever wanted to do was further violate a victim's consent or remove their autonomy. However, this has grown bigger than one singular person, and people need to know about this. They need to know what Alex has done and make an informed decision on whether they want to support him or not, especially with much of his fan base still being underage. I'm aware that many people may strongly disagree with this decision to proceed with the video, and I completely understand and respect that viewpoint. So likewise, I hope everyone understands and respects the position we were in, choosing whether or not we would allow any potential further abuse to happen and more alleged victims to be harmed. We truly believe we've made the best decision for everyone involved under these circumstances. So, where do we go from here? It should go without saying, I would highly advise against support in any form for Alex or his game. That includes views on his streams and videos, financial support of any kind, and yes, it also includes interacting with and playing Yandere Simulator. That's just my personal suggestion, and I'm not going to demand what anyone does with their lives. Before Alex or any of his more rabid fans start crying, "Cancel culture!" Alex is not entitled to an audience. He is not entitled to anyone's money or their time to watch his videos or play his silly game. He is not entitled to a platform, especially when he uses it to do something as heinous as participating in inappropriate conversations with his underage fans and then pressuring them into silence when they decide to come forward. Alex is not the victim when the power imbalance leaned heavily in his favor, and as the adult and public figure with tremendous amounts of influence and control over his very young and impressionable audience, Alex should have the wherewithal and the responsibility to say no. The onus was completely on him to put a stop to it, and he should have ceased all private communication the moment Jane said she was 16, but he didn't. Any consequences he faces from his own actions are his own doing. Of course, I'm much closer to this situation than I ever intended to be, and do admit that as a victim myself, I have tremendous survivorship bias. But I don't believe he is allowed to say, "Oh no, I'm so hurt, please pity me," when he gets burned from a fire that he set ablaze. The evidence clearly speaks for itself, in which even he acknowledges several times what he is doing is wrong, but he continued doing it anyway and even tried to provide some warped justifications for why it's okay, actually, that he's engaging in very sexually charged conversations with a minor. It does not matter if she messaged first. It does not matter if she went along with his sexual advances. It doesn't matter if she wanted his attention. She is a child. Someone who is neither physically or mentally or emotionally mature. And Alex is a 35-year-old man discussing his penis size, virginity status, breast sizes with a child, calling a child hot, telling a child it would be so erotic to model outfits for him, telling a child he could get lewd pictures and videos to fap to and that he'd keep it a secret if she provided them, discussing how biology sexualizes a child and so much more. There is no context or explanation that will ever make any of this acceptable. He made the choice to engage in this behavior when it should have never been allowed to happen in the first place. I'm sorry to sound like a broken record, and thankfully I know this does not need to be made any clearer for like 98% of people watching this video. But every single time in these types of situations, no matter who I'm talking about, there's always those select few who try to justify or excuse or diminish misconduct. And my patience and understanding for those still among his fan base with their rose-colored glasses on only goes so far. As for Jane, I know you may hate me. I will understand if you do, and I wouldn't blame you one bit. I've said it before, and I will say it again. I urge you to take some time offline and connect with some IRL friends or family who can support you. And think about the honest truth. If he truly did nothing wrong, he wouldn't have asked you to lie about it. There are plenty of other adults who find this relationship and behavior of his conducive to pedophilia and grooming. I understand you don't want to feel like you're ruining his life, but he is responsible for his own actions. No matter what you may have done, you did not deserve for this to happen. And the guilt and shame for anything is not yours to bear, and you have people who will be there for you to support you when or if you want it. To emphasize this point further, I do not condone hate or harassment towards anyone, and I ask that, especially in regards to Jane, please keep the comments kind and respectful. Don't even try me with no victim-blaming bullshit. I do not have the patience for it. She's not doing this for clout or attention, or whatever else some of his fan base have come up with in the past 48 hours. She doesn't even want to be named, and clearly at this point, she didn't even want the video to happen at all. As I've said, all blame and responsibility lies with Alex to prevent this type of relationship from forming with a child. There is no such thing as a perfect victim. I cannot stress that enough. When Jane first reached out to me, she did make accusations of illegal activity on Alex's part, though there was no evidence for that specific claim, only her testimony, which has since been retracted along with her allegation. I know there have been people questioning why we don't go to the authorities, and this is precisely why. And let me just say for the record that I see and fully understand everyone's frustration and disappointment with this video being delayed and not being what it was initially promised. Trust me, no one feels more frustrated and disappointed with this than myself and those trying to advocate for Jane behind the scenes. When I announced the original release day of this past Friday, the video was essentially complete, and I had every intention of posting it at the time I said. But Thursday was when a nuke dropped on the entire situation and we were left scrambling trying to figure out what to do. Perhaps I shouldn't have ever announced the release date at all. That is my mistake. But as I said, up until less than 24 hours before the video was set to go live, Jane was still acting confident about moving forward before she shifted so suddenly and drastically. So I do sincerely apologize for all the chaos and confusion and broken promises on my part. And I hope everyone can understand that much of this was out of my control. And when threats of legal action are thrown into the mix, our options become far more limited. I'm just an average gaming YouTuber trying to play games and do my own thing. And I wanted to be a voice for a victim who reached out for help to get accountability for someone she originally alleged was sexually abusing her. I understand not many people are going to take my word for it, but that was my only goal throughout this whole ordeal. If I had any idea just how much this would blow up, and knowing certain things that I do now, I'm certain I would have approached this quite differently. My heart hurts, and this project has brought up a lot of things I tried to bury a long time ago. And right now, I just want to be done with it. Since Alex often likes to claim content of this type is only made by clickbait drama YouTubers making up lies and controversy for profit and blah blah blah, any ad revenue I receive from these videos discussing him and his nonsense goes to certain charities, such as RAIN, the largest anti-sexual violence nonprofit organization in the US, and NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, who provides advocacy, education, support, and public awareness so that all individuals and families affected by mental illness can build better lives. These charities were chosen specifically as they relate to past controversies Alex has been involved in regards to more vulnerable communities over the years. Though, more often than not, due to the nature of topics being discussed in these videos, they usually get demonetized upon upload, and I suspect it will be the same for this one as well. So with that in mind, I want to encourage anyone who's made it this far in the video to at least consider donating to these organizations if you are able to, or whatever your favorite charity is supporting those affected by mental illness or sexual abuse. And on the off chance I'm actually able to monetize this video, I will happily donate any revenue earned as well. I'm not gonna lie, it'll be kinda weird to just go back to happy, silly gaming content after this, but it's probably best if we all go on with our lives as normal as we can after purging all traces of Alex and Yandere Simulator from our lives. Thank you everyone so very much for watching, and until next time, I will see you folks later. Bye!